What's going on, guys? This is Foresight Capital, and today we're going to take a look at Palantir's price action for the day and talk about how they have a bit of momentum built up to potentially spike into not only demo day towards the end of the month, but also Q4 earnings in the middle of February, and then lockup day a little later that month. We're also going to talk about Ark Invest's recent $12 million purchase worth of Palantir and take a look at what happened last time that Ark Invest threw a large sum of money into Palantir on a single trading day. All that I ask is that if this video brings you value, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing because we do deep dives on things that Ark Invest is buying and selling and stocks like Palantir all the time. Now, if you've yet to check out the Discord for this channel, check that out in the link in the description below. We're pushing 150 members. Every single day I give out a watch list of 2 to 3 stocks that I'm going to potentially purchase that day, as well as the charts behind those and the reasons that I'm buying or selling. I also give out an update every single time I buy or sell a stock, and there are a lot of great conversations going on amongst the pushing 150 members that we have in the Discord. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the description below. And lastly, Webull just extended their 4 free stock promotion, where if you sign up for a new account using the link in the description below, you will get 4 free stocks for depositing $100, and those stocks are valued at up to $3,700. Webull puts out a lot of great information and aggregates a lot of news sources so that you can keep up to date on the stocks that you're interested in, as well as offering free trades and pre-market and post-market hours. So it's a really great platform if you're interested in a new broker. So Palantir had an overall pretty wild day. We saw them spike up almost 6% in aftermarket hours yesterday on news that Ark Invest had purchased over $12 million worth of shares of Palantir. And we had a pretty standard trading day in terms of what we see pattern-wise. We saw a big spike in the morning where we were rejected by the $27.70 per share level that we've been talking about, and then a fade all throughout the afternoon. And it seems that Palantir either has a big dip in the morning followed by slowly grinding up the rest of the day, or they have a big spike in the morning and slowly fade throughout the day. And we saw that again today. However, this time it feels a little bit different because we actually broke through the long-term downtrend level. So we can see that Palantir has been on a pretty consistent downtrend since really the end of November when we set the all-time high at 33.50. And every single time we see a bit of consolidation, we don't quite set a new high and then continue a downtrend. Now, we recently touched the $22.60 per share support level that I had been talking about for the prior weeks, and seem to have started a new uptrend where we're setting higher lows and higher highs, indicating that potentially Palantir has reversed course. And now that we've firmly broken above this downtrend that we've been on for the past month and a half to 2 months, we could potentially see some momentum push the stock price up towards not only the 2770 level, but potentially back towards all-time highs. We know that we've got a lot of positive catalysts going on for the stock with demo day coming up here in just about 10 days. We've got Q4 earnings coming out in just under a month. And of course, we've got the lockup happening after that, where the lockup expires and potentially there will be up to 80% of the total float of Palantir hitting the market. There's a lot of expectation for the price to decline then, and a lot of people are holding off on Palantir until that point, but not Ark Invest. So we're going to take a look at Ark Invest Purchase on Thursday and compare it to the last time that they plowed over $10 million into Palantir to see what happened in the days and weeks following that event. So we're going to take a look at lucidtracking.com, which I have no affiliation with, but I think it's a great site if you're interested in Ark Invest buying and selling. You can get all of this information for free from their website, but this lays it out in a really nice and easy to follow way. So we can see here that on January 15th, week ending, Ark Invest had invested over $14 million in Palantir, bringing the total weight in the Ark W ETF up to 0.81, which is a new all-time high for Palantir. Now, this was helped by, of course, the price increasing by almost 3%, but also by their $14 million worth of purchases, $12.5 million of which happened after Palantir had 2 consecutive days at almost 2.5% down. So overall, they were really buying the dip. And if we take a look at the last couple of weeks of purchase action for Ark Invest, we can see that it's really been around $1 million to $2 million, with some weeks being even less. But the last time that Ark Invest had a substantial purchase in Palantir was November 13th, when they were down over 8% on the day leading into earnings, which were on November 12th. And Ark Invest actually invested $16.2 million that week, with $16.2 million of that coming after the big decline leading into earnings. Now, it's important to note here that up to that point, they were really building out their position in Palantir and adding just a couple of shares here or there, and really started out their purchasing with that large purchase. So we can attribute some of the large purchase to the fact that they saw an opportunity to buy the dip. But if we take a look back at the chart at what happened around that time, we can see that the earnings report was back here on November 12th, and Palantir was actually trading at almost $17 per share. But the couple of hours leading into the earnings report, they actually declined all the way down to about $14 per share. And we can see here that they traded right around that level throughout earnings. And that is when Ark Invest came in and purchased over $16 million worth of shares. So they were holding those on the morning of the 13th, and we can see the price action that happened over the next couple of weeks. Now, remember, this is November 12th. And all-time highs were actually set on November 27th. So in just 2 weeks, we saw the price of Palantir more than double, from about $14 per share all the way up to $33.50. Ark Invest really bought into the momentum there, potentially made a good bet that Palantir was going to beat or at least meet the expectations from the earnings report, which a lot of people would say that they did. They did post an $870 million loss, but about $840 of that was related to their direct public offering. So if you take that out, they were nearly profitable for the quarter. And actually, analysts are expecting for Q4 to be a potentially profitable quarter of about 2 cents per share, which is obviously minuscule, but a big step in the right direction for Palantir moving forward. So we've got the momentum factor of Ark Invest buying, and if we take a look at what happened the last time that they purchased, Palantir more than doubled in the next 2 weeks. Now, I'm not expecting for that to happen, and so I'm really expecting more modest gains, if any at all. But we know that Ark Invest is not a market timer, but they do like to buy on dips and buy good deals, and they obviously see some potential for Palantir to increase substantially in price, especially with the positive catalysts that we've got going on. Now, I highly doubt that they're even worried about the technicals of the stock, but they're buying at a time when the momentum was really picking up. We were starting to see an uptick in price. We're starting to see a push towards a very key resistance level at 770 that we've been rejected by, that if we can potentially break out meaningfully, we can push towards all-time highs. So they're buying into momentum. They're buying into positive catalysts that are coming up. Of course, the lockup day is coming up just after Q4 earnings, so it'll be very short-lived, the positive catalyst. But a lot of people are expecting Palantir to sell off heavily. It's not a given. Up to 80% of the overall float of Palantir can hit the market, predictably on February, I believe it's 15th or 16th, which will be 3 trading days after the Q4 earnings announcement. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the shares will hit the market. We will almost surely see a decrease in price, but it'll be important to see what the price level is. If we're at all-time highs at that point, potentially more people will be interested in taking profit. If Palantir has somehow faded into earnings, potentially fewer people will be willing to take the profit and will wait for it to return to highs. So there could be a lot of different ways that the lockup could go, of course, as you could say with any stock at any time, but it's just important to note that we're not necessarily going to see a big sell-off, and it's important to see here that Ark Invest is really growing their position in Palantir to a new record high, potentially buying the momentum, and we're starting to see a break of this long-term downtrend, which could be bullish for Palantir moving forward. So I'm not necessarily making a projection of where I think the price is going to go, because a lot of you guys grilled me in the comments for that when it was wrong in the short term. Keep in mind that I've mentioned many times before that while I like to trade this stock on daily volatility, I also want to hold it for a long time. This isn't a one-day investment or a one-week investment. It's a 3 to 5 year investment at least. But it's still important to follow the daily price action, because if you can and you're wanting to hold it a long term and you can get a discount, it's great to follow these sort of news events and get a good entry price so that you can hold it for the long term. So I really hope that this video brought you some value. Again, check out the link to the Discord. A lot of great traders in there, a lot of great conversations, and don't forget to sign up for Webull and collect your 4 free stocks valued at up to $3,700. I really appreciate you watching till the end, and we'll catch you in the next one.